right, what's good with it, everybody? What's good? What's good? What's good? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, let me actually go to the stream, make sure I'm with you guys as well. But what's good, everybody? Hopefully, everybody is having an amazing week. Oh, let me turn that down. But what's good, everybody? Hopefully, everybody's having a great week. Start to the week. Let me actually make sure that we are good. We are, in fact, good. Okay. Face is way too big. There we go. All right. So, what's good, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's good, Riley, Rome, Ali? What's good? What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good? Let me actually write that. What is good? All right, perfect. I appreciate you guys being on this morning. We're obviously going to take a look at the charts, answer any and all questions that you guys have. Obviously, go over any markets you would like to go over as well. As we can see here, there's a lot of news that, or not a lot of news, but New Zealand, I was checking out, had news yesterday. And if we actually go ahead and take a look today, there is a lot of news as well. So real quick, if anybody's like looking at the EA, it is currently off because I don't want it trading during the news. So obviously that's why right now the EA is currently off for you guys. Because right now, as you can see, you have strong US news coming here within the next hour. So we got to make sure we play a little bit safe with that. We don't have to worry about any Canadian or any Aussie because that's not where we're currently trading. So we just want to make sure we stay a little bit safe on that. But again, good morning, everybody. What is good? Let me go ahead, like my own video, because obviously that helps the algorithm a lot. Hint, hint. But let me go ahead and take a look at what you guys have. Again, if you guys have any questions, if there's anything that you guys need, let me actually make sure you guys can hear me perfect. Everything good? All right, everything's good. All right, so again, just going to go ahead. Oh, I just noticed that I have now 900 subscribers. I appreciate every last one of you guys who are obviously attending these calls, whether you're a legacy student, obviously legacy students more than anything, because you guys are the backbone of everything that we do. It's the reason why I stay consistent for so long when it comes to trading, honestly, because if I didn't build a community, I probably wouldn't have stuck within trading. And if I didn't have people who not depended, but obviously used the knowledge I was given in value, I probably would have put this down and not have been as successful and consistent with my trading. So this is why I always want to give back to everybody, build this community again through value and consistency. So yeah, good morning. Let me see what you guys got for me so far. Nothing. All right, so I'm always going to be checking my phone just to see if there's any questions, and obviously to make sure that I didn't freeze because my webcam's really weird at this point. But yeah, right now I'm just on a no specific pair. So if there's anything that you guys want me to take a look at, feel free to let me know in the comments. I will go ahead and take a look at that. If not, I'll look at a bunch of charts, see what we have. And again, just to remind you guys, I'm not personally going to be placing any trades when it comes to any US cross pairs, because again, with the next hour, we're going to have some US related news, red level folder news. There's also, and we'll just take a quick look at that again for anybody just jumping on. We do have it here at 8:30, and we do have CAD news, and then later on we do have Aussie news. So I would be very careful trading anything Canadian dollar cross paired. Obviously, you don't even want to trade anything with that because you have a bunch of news out for that later, and then you also have Aussie news. So that's going to be very strict. That's going to be very risky to trade as well. So I want everybody to be very careful with that. But we still have other markets we could look at. Obviously, we could look at everything or take a look at everything, and then really see what the markets may end up doing with the news, right? Because technical analysis does in fact kind of predict even what the news is going to do. That's a theory. That's not stated by any fact, but I do believe that if your technical analysis is I would say as detailed as possible, there's a chance that you could accurately trade the news with technical analysis. So we'll take a look at a bunch of things. So let me see what we have here real quick. Good morning. What's good, Eddie? Buenos dias, vato. Benji, what's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning. I don't even speak Espanol, so my bad. I'm Spanish too, and it sucks. Everybody always says it like not knowing Spanish as a Puerto Rican is the worst thing, and it kind of is. But I know buenos dias, vatos. It was good, man. All right, so I'm just marking that up really quick. And again, I just want to make sure, let me see what we have. Somebody else, Will, it's awesome. Hop on, you're live for the first time. Will, I appreciate you being on for the first time and actually being able to get some knowledge, ask questions, and obviously be in attendance with us. So thank you. I really, really appreciate that. I'm grateful that we're building this, like I'm not doing this for any other reason but just to give back. A lot of what's happening right now is people are just jumping onto YouTube and giving education. So I want to be able to be one of those individuals as well as I map out and kind of like reform a lot of my inner workings of what Legacy is and what it's going to become now. So this is something I really wanted to just do for you guys and really just help. So I appreciate you being on, brother. Thank you. All right, so let me see. US 30. I knew it. I knew somebody was going to ask about US 30. Yeah, absolutely. We'll take a look at US 30. US 30, please think a bullish moment on the way at news. Okay, I'm so happy that you said that. We could definitely take a look at that. What's up with gold since it's not highly impacted by inflation? What's up with gold since it is not highly impacted by inflation? So I already got an email. I guess it's because once you get like 1,000, I think I'm almost close to being monetized. I had an email, so I can't say a few things, but I hope you guys catch my drift and with the kind of like the hints I put out, because YouTube's getting really strict with like the things that you say. So we all know the germ. I can't say that, but we all know the thing that just happened in 2020 that shut everything down. That's what affected the economy at first, obviously. And now we are leading into what's happening overseas with the intensifying of invasions, if you will. That's taken a huge impact because now there's more moving pieces than just technically they're looking at another world war. I think I could say that, and that alone, as we can see, has played a huge factor in what the majority of the markets have been doing. As far as being stagnant, some of the markets have really not been moving. Gold being something that has been moving in a sense, but very not unpredictably, but nothing's been working in a very technical standpoint. It's been more parabolic in a sense, as we can see with like GJ and stuff. So we could probably see it like with US 30 as we kind of like transition to that. Like, this is something that, in my opinion, should not have been so choppy throughout this entire time. And as we can see, I mean, the choppiness really started pretty much, was it like November? Like, yeah, like the summer? Okay, so like the summer of last year. Now, obviously, that wasn't a great time for the economy as well. But even right now, and I'll talk on this more along the lines of a technical standpoint, because US 30, I mean, as we can see, this was the biggest downfall. We already know what this is. And it's been bullish ever since. Obviously, you're going to have bearish notations. You're going to have corrective sells or any other fundamental factors that have, impacted this. But the one thing I'm looking at, again, is how the market has reacted around everything. And if we look at it on a technical standpoint, we kind of will be so able to identify a few things. Now, there's two things I'm looking at this as I'm looking at right now, right? There is, and this is the main thing I was identifying before. This was the level of structure I was actually looking at. So I'm not going to cheat and say that my structure was down here, by no means. My structure was here. And at the time, I wanted the market to just come and respect that point. And it kind of did. Let me actually get rid of this so I don't get confused. And it kind of did. But this would be the entire zone. I'm not going to draw that. So what I am going to identify again is the fact that we did come back to this price range and we are starting to see some bullish indications because we had that rejection from there. If we actually just get rid of this, we can actually see that this is a double bottom. We have a point there and a point there. So a double bottom just basically means that the market has came to the point once, rejected off of it, and came back to ask itself, do I really want to continue to push down lower? Nah, let me not. And if a lot of people say this is not a double bottom, as long as this low, the previous low that was tested before, so this wick, is not broken, you are identifying a double bottom. It has to play within that range, though. It has to meet that price. As long as it doesn't break it, though, it is still a valid double bottom. So we have that concept, and right now we're kind of like in a crossroad because we do have two factors. We have that double bottom. It's currently being tested here from previous structure, and if we look left to get right, that's still a level of structure regardless. But the reason why I'm looking at this more significantly here is because that's the piece of the double bottom. If you don't know what I mean, this is exactly what I mean. You have your test of structure here. The market rejects off of it. Now, this is the correction to that impulse. Now, what ends up supposed to happening is you're supposed to get a break below that point if it wants to continue to be bearish. But you don't. It comes to that point and it's like, you know what? I'm not able to push down lower. When you break this point, you're now breaking market structure, meaning that instead of creating lower lows and lower highs, now you're starting to transfer into higher highs and higher lows. So that's kind of like what we got here. We already have not a higher high, right, in a sense, because we haven't broken above this high. I would say that's the more relevant high that needs to be currently broken. But we were able to break above this high. When we look here, there was no such type of like idea, right? Low, higher low, or higher high rather, lower low. I just got myself so confused. This is a high point. This is a low. This is the higher or the lower high. I just got myself so mixed up with that. This is our lower high. And then we can see this is our lower low because this low is lower than here. So we can see that we're kind of changing a little bit, shifting direction because we're able to at least break above this point, currently retesting it. Now, the reason why I also say why we're kind of like in a crossroads is because this has a head and shoulders pattern on this time frame. And we can already see the break of that. Right? So the break of that neckline there and the test of it doesn't necessarily warrant me to say, you know what, buys are relevant right now. We are looking at, from the daily, a potential buy, yes. But when we start identifying what the market gives us, we're going to need a little bit more confirmation for those buys to be, I would say, confirmed, right? Because you can't just simply say, oh, well, it looks like a buy on the daily. It has to be a buy on everything else. Absolutely not. What I would like to see is maybe some price action even on this time frame, now scaling down. This is called time frame confluence. Let me just see if you guys, okay, you guys are just listening, perfect. So we can now identify, again, using time frame confluence. This time frame could show us a sell because we can see, again, how the market reacted from that point. Now, we can also identify any key factors in the future that can warrant potential buys. Because right now, not so much. But if we start doing this, right, we have this trend line. Let me actually make sure this is accurate for you guys. Perfect. So what I would like to see is maybe we can get some type of bullish reaction from this point. Because now, again, we're in that crossroads. We are in that buy range, right? Because of that double bottom, we're retesting a pretty significant price point. But the market right now, with the clues that's being left behind, may say, well, after this strong buy, it needs a further correction, right? Maybe it can come back down to here. Maybe it come back down to this point down here as well. But if we do have said break of this bearish trend line, then we can possibly look for potential buys. So I would say hold off on that unless you're using smaller time frames like the 5, the 15 minute. I know a lot of people use that, those time frames for this specific like pair or just indices in general, and even gold. So if you're doing something like that and you're buying from that range, getting out pretty soon, I guess that. But for me, I would really want to see what happens around this point. And this is also a potential breakout pattern too. So what we could identify is what usually ends up happening is you see how this market has hit the support, and as it hits the trend line and the support, trend line support, it gets more condensed and smaller. What's going to end up happening is going to build up enough pressure, i.e. volume, to shoot to the direction, which is right now US 30 with news coming out pretty soon. So it's building up that volatility needed. So I personally would say, and I know you're saying leading into news, so that's perfect as well. But I would personally say allow the news to really show you the direction, because this is where the crossroad or the answer of this crossroad is going to be answered, right? Because when we have a break below that level of structure, we now know the news has just been a catalyst and the volatility needed to show us that, in fact, that head and shoulders pattern is, in fact, still relevant, and we should be looking for other price points, kind of like what we identified over here, right? Or if it breaks above, then it confirms your initial buys. And if you're already in, you're going to be driven into profits even more. Or if you don't get into the buys immediately, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to delete everything because now what we could do is, I'll just put the trend line back really fast. What we could do is we'll identify where, so let's say, and this is just figurative speaking, where is that ghost feed? Is it here? Yeah. So let's say the market breaks above, and then it comes back down to that trend line. I know it looks really weird like that with the little tool that I'm using. But let's say it comes back down to that trend line and you get a retest. Now you have an entry there, right? And you can continue with that market to the upside. Or it comes back down to, let's say, the structure point. But now you have confirmations, right? We can't just jump in. I'm not saying you or anybody. This is just me, just generalizing a statement. You can't just jump into a market randomly, especially leading into news. So I'm, again, just really happy that you brought that up for yourself. So it means that you're aware of the risk. But with that, we now need to wait for one of these points to really show us, right? Once the news comes out, we have a break either above or below. We know exactly where that market long-term, I wouldn't say long-term, I'm not going to talk about like for years, but for the meantime, right? For the monitor, for maybe the week, maybe even leading into next week. We don't know how long the trend may continue, but we do know the general direction after either ends are broken. So hopefully that kind of makes sense with US 30. US 30 looks like a strong head and shoulder pattern on the daily time frame. Yeah, like I was saying, like the inverted head and shoulders pattern right here, it does have that factor. And who is this? Oh, my family. So look, this is what I'm looking at. If you're looking at that head and shoulders pattern, right? Good morning, Jay. What's up, Steve? What's good, Steven? So if I'm identifying anything, I mean, that would be the head and shoulders pattern. If you're looking at this one, I mean, that's kind of already gone in a sense because it's already created those lows, and I think it's already respected where it needed to for the new buyers to come into the market. So I'd be very careful with the potential anything with this right now. But yeah, I would say, and I'm pretty sure we'll still be on while the news comes out. So we'll actually take a look at how it comes out. I got Forex Factory here ready and everything. So we'll take a look at how it goes. And for the news, it is PPI. I don't know what that is because I don't do fundamental analysis, but I do pay attention to when when not to trade when news is around. So I am very highly relevant with that because news alone could drive you out of a lot of profits or put you in a bad place. All right, so let me see what else you guys got. So far, nothing. But yeah, any other questions? Anything else you guys got for me? Feel free to let me know. I'll just see. There was a few markets. GJ definitely being one of them. We'll take a look at that here in a second. If I'm correct, it was, yes, USD CAD. So after yesterday's little debacle on our live, I didn't want to put our analysis on the Discord because the person was actually in the Discord that was just like going crazy. So I didn't want them receiving knowledge, but hopefully everybody was able to kind of identify using the analysis from yesterday's live to determine this beautiful buy that we had on USD CAD. And I'm just going over this really quick just to see if there was another potential opportunity on this. But yesterday we were actually looking at buys like here. And while we were on, we saw a break right below, and I just identified this structure point with our trend line. And as you can see, it just literally did exactly what we anticipated. Now, the reason why I'm just coming back on here is because just in case anybody is in this trade, I want you guys to be able to now move your stop losses to break even at least, or simply take profits because if the news comes out negative for the dollar, and you got CAD there too. If it goes negative for the dollar and just bad for it's just gonna be bad. It's probably just gonna be like this weird looking. It's probably with one candle probably look like this because it's gonna be a tug of war right now between the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. It's probably gonna just look like that, like a long wick, small body to the candle itself, pretty much a doji, if you will, because it's the volatility on that is gonna be just a little bit crazy. Again, because you have the Canadian dollar at 10. Oh, so yeah, 8:30. I thought that was going to come out at 8:30 as well. So at 10, you might see a lot of huge movement with the Canadian dollar. So if anybody is in this, take profits or, move your stop loss to break even so that way you can mitigate your risk. Yo, what's good, Zach, my guy? What's good, homie? We got quite a few people on here. What's good, everybody? I appreciate you guys being on. Building this community. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's good? What's good? All right. So now that we got some people on, talk to me. What y'all guys want to learn? What questions you guys got? What markets would you like to identify? That's the most important thing. Staying relevant to what you guys need and want. So let me actually go ahead. GU. See, this is let's go over something real quick, right? So with a lot of people, and this is an easy market to trade in the sense, and I'll go over everything, but this is not a favorable market to trade. So what I'm looking at with GU is just a lot of choppiness. Yes, it does have an initial bearish trend, but the idea of trading such a choppy market really isn't that great. Like if we even go over here, this is, and I know it looked like a double bottom, should have been a buy, just consolidated. I don't like trading a market that'll be giving you a strong buy, then a strong sell, and then choppiness for a whole week. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like a market like this. And I understand that there was news as far as yesterday, but for the market to just give us this is not that favorable. And again, I do believe it's a lot of what's going on around the world. Even if you look at stocks are kind of taking a big hit too. I don't personally trade stocks, but being in the trade community, individuals who do, and they're even like the markets are just kind of stuck, stand still. Nobody's really doing much. And we can kind of see that with this. And I know it's again leading into news, but none of this was news. None of this was it's just a very weird thing. Let me see what you guys got. Bro, GA, I love it. All right, GBP AUD, let's take a look. All right. I did have I can already see something on that. Oh, this is why I never like to delete my analysis. So this is really old analysis. Not really old because it is the same color. Okay. I was going to say I thought I changed the color of my my structure point here. But Yeah, I mean, right now, after that insane sell-off with, I mean, anything that had the Aussie involved with it, like Euro AUD was like, looks almost identical. The first thing I want to see is this. I got to turn this light off. Hold up, because this is bothering me. Oh, I can't do it while I'm using it? That's crazy. My webcam light, can I turn it off here? Okay, I can't. My webcam light is so bright that it's like hurting my one eye. It's so bad, but sorry. So let me actually do this. So I'm jumping onto the higher time frame, being the weekly, because the higher the time frame, the stronger the confluence. You're going to be able to identify what's truly happening, not something that's going to happen for 5 minutes and then reverses on you and you're not understanding why. So for me, let me just make sure we're good. Okay. So again, the biggest thing for me is identifying where we are in the market. I can see right now that I'm at a level of structure. That's important. Now I'm cheating right now, right? I am, because I'm marking on my chart specifically to these points, like this structure here. I'll kind of zoom in so you guys can see it a little bit better. So all through here, I'm looking at. I know that there is space in between this line and structure here, but this would be considered the entire zone, right? I know that that's the point, or the price point in general, but I don't want my zones ever being that big, because then when you scale down smaller time frames, everything's going to be in blue. I can't have that. So I understand that right now we're at a level of strong structure. Got it. So let's write that. Strong structure. I can spell structure, but I can't spell strong. All right. I love it. So I can see that right now we're at a level of strong in structure. But what we're also identifying on the weekly time frame is something really important that's developing. It's not there yet, but there is one thing there, but the full reversal pattern is not there. We can identify this candle, and again, I'll always stress it to you guys. If you do not understand candlestick patterns, how important they are, the behavior and the variance that they are themselves, please go ahead and take a look at them. I'm not going to go ahead and go through a candlestick course, because I actually do think that there's one on YouTube that is by far. I wish I had that when I first started learning, to be honest, because I was like, oh shit, this is professionally made. I don't have the link to it, but if you just literally put in candlestick patterns, I'm pretty sure it's the first one. And it's a really beautiful video. It's here on YouTube. And I don't get, that's just, free marketing for them, I guess. But it's just, again, I want you guys to be able to understand what candlesticks mean, how important they are, and just the relevance behind them and how they can really change up your trade game. But that candlestick there being very important. And I'm also waiting for this candlestick to develop and close a little bit better, so that way we can get a better sense of what this overall can mean. So we'll come back on Friday and see what GBP AUD is doing. But the idea of this candle is rejection, right? We're identifying that sellers are no longer welcome, especially after such a strong impulsive move to the downside. We can see how the market comes all the way down. As we have an impulsive move, we have to, well, I wouldn't say have to, because the markets do whatever they want, but we're most likely going to be looking for a correction. Now, I'll talk about that here in a second. Now, and I'm looking at, check out that inverted weekly, inverted. Yeah, no, I got you. I got you on everything. So on the weekly, again, we can see that level of structure. Now, when we scale down to smaller time frames, we're going to identify more candlestick patterns. Now, I'm not identifying too much here, but what I can see, just like my man's, Zach. I was like, I know it was Zach. I was about to say Blair. Oh, I was going to say Blair. Your last name's Blair. I was going to say your name wrong. But all right, yeah, Zach. Yeah, I mean, here on the daily, there's not too much I'm really identifying on the daily. But what we can see on that 4 hour, just like you said, as soon as I jumped on here, I was like, oh, I can already see what I'm seeing. That inverted head and shoulders pattern right there, which is beautiful. Because what we can identify is, again, that should have been the potential entry point. So we can say, actually, I'll just draw it like this. I'll actually use the pattern. Because I think a lot of people get annoyed with me always talking about this pattern, but it's always there. And we have to use the tools that the market leaves behind. Because if not, you're not going to be profitable. So right now, we can see that idea. Now, it's not confirmed because the neckline is not broken yet, or simply market structure. But what can I see? I can see this. Now, Zach, I'm pretty sure you're already in the buys, my mans. You already know what to do with head and shoulder patterns. I've showed you that way too many times. So, Zach, real quick, are you in buys from here? Just give me a 1. Give me a hell yeah. Like, give me something. Let me know, because I'm pretty sure you are. If you're not, I'm just asking though. But are you in the buys from here? And real quick, nobody think that this is a trade right now. It's not. This is not something I'm in. I'm just identifying, seeing if my man Zach over here is in the trade from down there. Because, oh, you took that trade last night? So, yeah, that answers the question. Last night? No, actually, it might have been a little bit different. Actually, yeah, you're in from there. 100% if you took that from last night. This man's a savage. Yeah, so your first targets, Zach, is already, almost 200 pips. That's a beautiful trade. So this should be your targets 1. So let's do this. I help you out with this. I know you don't need help, but targets 1. And then obviously if that's broken, and let me get rid of this before anybody thinks that we're in that, because we're not. Well, my man Zach is. But just to give you a retrospect of how you would manage this trade as the market develops and continues. You would have this as targets 1. Jay, why would that be targets 1? Good question. Let me answer that. Because this is still a level of resistance. So that being a level of resistance could still cause this market, no matter this being, in development of being a inverted head and shoulders pattern, it has to actually break above for it to be confirmed. This could still come here and push down lower. So we still need to take note of that. But my man Zach, I already know what you already know what to do if this is broken. So we'll do this. We'll get very detailed with this. If broken, continue to hold till Christmas. Oh, I can't spell right now. I don't got my contacts in. This is terrible. I'm not even going to try. Until 2030. Let's do that. Yeah, there you go. That's even better. Let's try and put some humor in this. I know trading is very boring. I know it's like the most monotonous thing in the world, especially if you don't have a strong understanding. So I'll just try to entertain you guys with this as well. Make you guys laugh a little bit. But yeah, you hold this until fucking God knows when. There is other points, obviously, that you would want to identify as potential targets, such as here, because that is obviously what used to be support, could be a level of resistance as well. So it's just an ongoing development of how the market or how it's going to react around a few things. So I would see something like that. I definitely look for those buys. Those buys are, in my opinion, inevitable, in my honest opinion. Yes, Zach. So yeah, you definitely did, my mans. I love that. So yeah, you're definitely well off in good profits. But again, use those reference points, these like target zones. Obviously, it's target zones, because if the market starts to show that it's going to be bearish, it's going to start being bearish from those points, and you don't want anything to eat at your profits. But I mean, if in fact, and just to go where I think it may come into, your overall targets for this should be here, and I'm pretty sure you know why. Because that was a double top, it was broken through, it was retested. But that's still a very significant level of structure. If that's broken, then yeah, you're definitely not getting out of that until up here, which would be insane. If you hold that trade from there, your swap fee will be crazy though. Your swap fee will be insane. But yeah, I do love that setup as a buy, 100%. All right, what other questions and comments you guys got? What are the markets? I'm here to help. I'm here to assist. What time is it? It's almost 8 o'clock, so we're gonna get a new candle coming out here in literally a few seconds. Let's see. About 30 seconds, we'll have a new candle leading into 8 o'clock. Obviously, we'll have 30 minutes until news is relevant, so we'll stay on, see how that works out. Because I really want to see how the dollar is going to react for the news, whether the dollar is going to get weak or gain more value. Speaking of the dollar, let me see real quick, Steve. Have you already went over gold? Hope I didn't miss it. I have not. So let's go take a look at gold. But again, this is very subjective because we have news. So it's reacting literally off of that idea. Even though we're in this bullish idea, I'm still looking for sells. Now, it might be a little bit different because what we're looking at is like in the sense, okay, so let me do this. Let me actually mark it up the way that I had it. So I am looking at this double bottom, and we do have the break above with literally not really a retest, right? So what I was looking for, and we'll just do this. What I'm looking for is, since we do have that break above, I want to see some type of correction, at least from here back down to this structure, or even back down here. And I'm hoping that news can be the catalyst to give us that, because then I'll start looking for buys from either here, or if it even breaks below there at this point here. Now, gold being this weird little entity that it is now, because after these strong buys, we kind of got stuck here, which you would expect either a stronger sell-off, because actually if I do this, I was looking for my initial buys to start from here. We didn't quite reach that point. So what I'm hoping for is that this is the impulse, this is our correction, and we come driving right back down to here, kind of like an ABC move. Where is it? Right here. I'm not a advocate or anything type of harmonic or not harmonic Elliott wave trader, but in this sense, this will be more along the lines of like that corrective move that Elliott wave does in fact use. I don't know anything Elliott wave again, so don't ask me anything Elliott wave. But in the sense I've studied it, I understand the 5 wave, the very basics of it, and I understand the very basic of the ABC corrective move. And this is kind of like what I'm looking for. Again, the very basic of it. I'm all price action, support resistance, fibs, trend lines, candlesticks. But again, in the sense of just that small understanding of how that corrective move works, this is kind of like what I'm looking at for this. And it should be coming, we'll do this, and I'll go back to the 4 hour. And it is right at that range where I was looking for those potential sells. Because what we're looking at also is the test of that previous broken head and shoulders pattern, which should be a significant or considered a significant level of structure as well. Because as you can see, this was a support range. This was a market structure, if you will. Once that's broken, it starts creating lower lows and lower highs. You're going to most likely find continued sells. Didn't quite get that, but this could be the ranging market, the consolidation, I'm like losing my words, the consolidating idea to gain the value and the traders needed for it to actually start the sells. I do think it's from this point. But again, we'll find out here with news. But yeah, with it being so choppy, not choppy, but just kind of like more along the lines of, actually, I do like this bullish trend. That I do like. This I do like. This over here, not so much. This is more along the lines of what I'm speaking on. But that bullish trend actually is pretty beautiful. But I do believe since we're right back at that range, we should be and hopefully seeing some strong sells here with gold. And that's just leading into news, right? But we can't really tell until that happens. Or until news happens and we start to see what the initial market's going to give us. And I do have that ready for us here as well. In my opinion, I mean, it already seems like gold is being a little bit more bullish. So my analysis may not come into play and be bullish, or be bearish. So I do want to see what this initial market gives us. But in my opinion, if in fact this market, if the dollar gains strength, we're going to see a strong sell-off from this point, being just all technical factors. So hopefully that kind of like makes sense. Gold's a weird one. GJ, please. I'll definitely take a look at GJ. I don't think, do we have any? We had pound news, and it came out positive for the pound. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be looking for continued buys on that. But we do have any further pound news later? We got low level, so nothing. Okay, so we could definitely identify that in a technical standpoint as well. But I'm definitely going to come back to gold anyway, because I want to see how gold and the dollar itself reacts. We'll just see how it reacts here. I'll actually go ahead and like refresh everything as far as the forex factory. So in case if anybody does trade news, you know what the news is, so that way you could place your own trades accordingly. I personally don't trade news. Sometimes I do. When NFP used to be cool, NFP hasn't really been cool in so long, and so I haven't really traded news like that. And I used to always trade the Wednesday Canadian news that you currently see here, which is just, you can actually just trade oil with that as well. That was a little secret that I was taught. And it works out very well. I haven't done that in a while either, to be honest, but it's still a very simple idea. If you guys know how to use Forex Factory and trade news, I'm pretty sure you guys know how to do that as well. Hint, hint, learn how to trade news. And it's really not hard. So if you guys do know, we'll be on Forex Factory kind of identifying this. Now, there is a huge delay from me to you, so you're probably going to get that news maybe like 10 to 20 seconds later. So if you want to even be on Forex Factory yourself, and identify the news before obviously the delay gives it to you from the stream, you could definitely do that as well. But just be very careful when trading the news. Like, I don't want you guys getting burnt when gold sells. Yeah, I'm waiting, I'm hoping. I want gold to just crash from here, but again, we need that volatility. So let's go ahead and take a look at GBP JPY GJ. So we can kind of see exactly what the news did for the pound pair. What time was that news yesterday? That was at 2 a.m. So 2 a.m. Let's see. Where is 2? So I'm just looking for where 2 o'clock is. Dude. All right, so 2 o'clock right here. So this, yeah, the bullish candle from the news. We can see the reaction from it. This is the candle that reacted, and we can see the corrective or correction that it's currently having. I mean, with the news coming out positive for the pound, we can currently see its initial trend. Even right now, I would want to see breaks above this, but I personally would think more bullish. I mean, I'm not going to go against the initial trend that we're looking at, especially like when we're just looking at GBP AUD. That's very much bullish. We use correlation, we can identify that the pound may be more stronger than its competitors. So I would say more buys for GJ. We can even see the break above this point. Oh, I think I actually have the tool here. I'll just draw it out since I drew it out with this, but I was going to use the actual channel tool. But you can see here, we have breaks above this initial area, showing us that buyers are still very much in control of this market. Now, if we look left to get right, now I'm not going to draw my zone that big. I'm just going to identify this specific point. It can come back down lower though, because I'm just identifying this right now because that's where we currently are, and it can respect this minor level of little weird structure here. My honest opinion though, it might just simply come back down to the trend line and push higher. All right, so we can actually add a fib on this because there is a corrective move. So yeah, I would say roughly around this area for any type of buys. And I know I was looking for sells in this yesterday, but this is why we stay patient and we allow the market to really show us the confirmations needed, right? We can't just barge into a market, think that we're just going to place trades like crazy. Nah, you have to allow the market to truly develop on what it wants to do, right? So this will be considered, when confirmed, buy zone. And I will put the analysis because I was able to block that, whoever that was yesterday. I was like the funniest thing to me. So we're going to be looking at something like this. I just want to make this trend line a little bit more accurate. There we go. And I apologize for any noise in the background. I live in New York City, the heart of New York City at that. So everything is loud, especially now. I don't know if you guys heard what happened in New York City yesterday, but when I say like cops are everywhere, everything's super like bustling. It's crazy. So I apologize for anything in the background. You might hear sirens like crazy too, because again, whatever happened yesterday, they're everywhere. So yeah, I apologize in advance. But let me see. All right, you guys look to be good. Am I frozen? Oh, wait. Let me just make sure I'm good. Okay, I'm good. I thought I was frozen for a second. I didn't want to make sure I was frozen. All right, so yeah, with GJ, I would be identifying this as your potential buy zone because, again, since we do have the break above this trend line, again, just make it perfect. I always get on my students for making their analysis and work perfect, so I'm going to do the same for you guys. So what I'm going to do is, again, since I see the break of this initial trend line, I can see that we're created a higher point from here. We haven't retested that zone, but it's because we need a stronger correction. So I would think, again, at least back down to this initial zone or even the trend line. You might actually just have the market just come back, leave a wick at that trend line, and the body just starts to fly up from there. So that would be considered my initial buy zone for GBP JPY. And let me just make sure. Okay, perfect. I didn't know you were back in New York, Jay. Glad you're safe. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just going to be here for a little bit. Family, you know what I mean? Family needs me and shit. And there's nothing in Utah. My son's now in Florida, so I'll be buying a house in Florida. There's no point for me to stay in Utah. I will be back in Utah, though, because it's beautiful. And I still have my property over there, or my properties. So I want to be able to actually go enjoy that, especially in the summertime, Utah, or like this time where it's getting nice. Utah is so gorgeous. It is beautiful, especially when you're in the mountains. It's the best. It really is. But yeah, just going to be traveling for a little bit. I mean, why not? The world's opening back up a little bit. I got a lot of free time, so I'm going to be around. I'm going to be back in New York, or back in Utah in a few weeks. I'm going to Chicago as well. Then I'm going to be spending some of my time in Florida, obviously, and then overseas. I want to spend. Anybody been to like Thailand and stuff, like, or across the country like that? Thailand, Costa Rica. I'm trying to spend a few months out there. If you have, let me know how it is. Because I'm definitely trying to go over there. But yep, back in New York for a little bit. Hopefully, if anybody in New York want to chop it up, link up, let me know. I'm literally always available, especially now, because I don't have to do as much work as I did in Utah because I'm not managing any of my properties. I'm getting that handled because that shit's hard. I ain't gonna lie. I'm still gonna get into real estate. I'm still learning, but that is not easy, man. Especially if you're trying to do Airbnbs. I mean, Airbnb in the sense is pretty easy, but in though I guess the times now it's not. So I guess I could see the difficulty with that. So yeah, if you guys are into real estate, God bless your souls. I appreciate, like, you guys are intelligent creatures, and it's crazy. Real estate is, I thought trading was hard, but real estate is a completely different ball game. It really is. So if anybody got tips, holla at me. It's really crazy. Costa Rica is nice, bro, especially if you're single. I don't know who watching, so Costa Rica. Costa Rica's been on one of my top fives for a while, or top three actually, for me to visit Costa Rica. So I'm definitely trying to go out there. So if anybody out there, holla at me too. I'll be out there pretty by the end of the year. So I'm not spending the winter in any cold place. I want to spend the winters in a very warm area, because forget that. All right, let me see what else we got as far as markets are concerned. Again, we'll see what the news is going to give us. We have about almost a little bit over 15 minutes left. So the market for the U.S. cross pairs are not going to be as relevant. That was New Zealand dollar news yesterday. That's crazy. This is what I mean about not trading the news, because a lot of people probably started looking for strong sells on that, and then it started buying immediately. So this is why I personally don't like to trade the news for the most part. But I'm just going to skim through the chart, see if there's anything we can speak on. Oh, that's coming into our favor real quick. Japan is really nice. That's actually my number one spot that I want to visit. Spain and Portugal are great to vacation. All right, I'll definitely Spain. I definitely want to check out. But yeah, Japan's my number one out of all places. Japan. I don't know why. I feel like once I go there, I'm just never going to want to come back. I feel like everybody's just like giant kids and so bright. They always got like better technology and stuff. So I want to see how it is. But yeah, let me see. So I'm still looking at CAD CHF. This is something we actually looked at yesterday, and it's actually working out almost beautiful in our favor. So let me get rid of a few things. What we're looking at was this market to come back and respect this level of structure, which it currently is. Now, I'm looking at one of two things. I'm looking at this to be a strong buy zone, which it currently has bought from already, but that's not a confirmation for buys, because as you see here, you can see how the market right now is kind of like in a consolidated bullish move. It's like a little weird move. I just want to see something that might actually be a sell before we get up there. So what I'm originally looking at was for this market to obviously impulse lower and correct back to this point, because we have respected this structure point, this support. So since we have respected that, I want to see a correction back up there, but I don't think we're going to get that. This is where I just want to see this. I want to see how detailed we can get and see if we can be accurate with this. It did break this counter trend line. Let me actually make sure if this is in fact super accurate, because I don't like just breaking through candles for no reason. There we go. So right now, I would even say that we have broken that, what you would consider a counter trend line. So me seeing that we have broken that counter trend line, that could mean that we might not get up to that sell kill zone, and we might actually have entries somewhere within this area. I will actually mark this, because you can see this is a minor level of structure. Minor because we're on a small time frame, being the 1 hour, and obviously those structures not that strong. But I can see this really quick, and I'm actually going to add a fib from these highs. I'll make sure that the top right here is accurate, and we're coming right back within that zone. Look at that. So right in between that 7-1, which has already like literally been hit, or in that 786 range. So I'm going to keep my eye out for CAD CHF for us, so that way if it does fruition, we can actually go ahead and place a trade on that. Let me get rid of all these, because these are no longer valid. So potential sell zone. So we're just going to put sell kill zone. No entries on this yet, though. Sell kill zone. And again, is because we have the break of that counter trend line. Since we have the break of that counter trend line, We can obviously see the correction from that impulsive move coming back to retest a specific point, obviously retesting that trend line, and obviously coming with some fib confluence. Now, again, we're not just immediately placing this trade. Know why? Because we do have insanely strong Canadian news. So I'm looking at this as a potential entry. I might go ahead and be risky a bit right before Canadian news and place the smallest lot size I can for this. No, I'm just kidding. I'll probably put something halfway decent for a sell, only because if in fact this is a strong entry point and the Canadian news comes out and it's negative against the Canadian dollar, that's going to sell off extremely fast. So I want to potentially get into that. Now, please, by no means should anybody go ahead and start placing trades on this. Please don't. But I want to see what initially happens through here. Now, I don't think we'll be on at 10:30 when this comes out, but I'll put the analysis in the Discord so that way we can actually identify what happens. Because it's really cool if we be able to say that technical analysis, when our technical analysis is in fact accurate, we'll be able to trade the news accurately as well. I do believe that is still very much a relevant thing, that you can accurately trade through news with your technical analysis. But there's no stats or real back testing that's ever been taken place. I've personally done it a bunch of times where I've already been in trades that have been in profit, and then the news drives me further in profit. There has been times where I've lost trades when trading the news, obviously, as well. So more times than none, I mean, I've won more, but there's no statistical data stating that you can, in fact, do it. But if we can do that together, that would be kind of sick. When all the news comes out, we trade it based off technical analysis. We know all the moves before it happens. So, but this is exactly why I don't immediately start placing trades, because as you can see here, we're breaking above that trend line and we're still within that range, and we still have time for that to leave a wick to the downside, as it's only not even 8:30 yet. What time is it? 8:17, right? So this is going to leave a wick above, leave a small or bearish bodied candle, and still show us a strong level of rejection. So let's wait for this candlestick to close before we actually do anything with it. Let me see real quick. Just get property managers to get CPA firms. I did audit the properties and watch your numbers, because folks are not. Oh, trust me, I know. I got blessed with a good group of people in Utah that helped me out big time with that. So shout out to them. Like they really helped me out with that. They have the knowledge. I just had the motivation to do it. Honestly, go to Samoa. Yo, my man Rome, or Australia. I'll go wherever you at, Rome. You seem like a cool ass dude. But yeah, what other questions you guys got? What other markets? We're just waiting for the news to come out. I want to see what happens. We might as well just do that together. And right now it does seem as if the dollar kind of preemptively gaining strength, because we can see how AU is reacting to the downside. We can see how Euro USD is still very much bearish in a sense. This is also something, we did get a beautiful trade from here to the downside, but even this has been weird, kind of like stuck and consolidated. So a lot of these markets are not as favorable to be trading. Again, like GU is a perfect example of that. And how you would trade this, I know I said it was pretty easy to trade, but it's just not something you would really want to do. Like, let's say we'll just come back to this point here where the market's kind of like choppy like this. It's easy in a sense because you're basically just trading a range, right? So what you're going to be doing is you're just going to identify this. So you can identify structure. And yes, you can absolutely sell from the highs, buy from the lows. But I don't even know how big this range is. So 40 pips. They're about 40 pip range, right? And very unpredictable, because look at this candle. You would have got stuck in that forever. It was a buy and a sell all at the same time. That is not a favorable market to trade. And the reason why I'm going over this is because a lot of people are asking, why is there not enough, why can't I find that many trades, or why is there not enough trades? It's because the market has to be it has to behave in a manner that's going to have setups. Now, again, this could be considered a setup as far as buy and sells, but is it going to give you something that you're confident about, that you could place a lot size that's significant enough to make actual money? Probably not. Maybe this setup here might have been a little bit better, or this range, but as you can see, it's not a favorable thing to trade. You want something trending, and if not trending, you want a bigger range. That doesn't give us any of that here. So with these markets, it's just I want everybody to be very careful with these. I don't care what anybody's like, oh yeah, the market. Tell them to relax, because when I start seeing that the markets are just ranging, having these weird sporadic moves, and then ranging again, that's not good setups as far as confidence is concerned. So that's why I'm just like being very adamant about identifying any potential trades, right? I want to make sure that the trades that we do get into are going to be either high quality or highly profitable. I mean, obviously both, but high quality being a good entry, we can get, 20, 30 pips, or high profitability when we can get 100 to 200 to 500 pips. Sometimes I try to go from 100 to 200 pips depending on the market, because you're not going to do that on like Euro GBP. But on gold, very easy. USD MXN, very easy. Euro NZD, also something very easy. Something like this, not so much. Let me see what else you guys got. I'm just giving you guys info. I don't see any questions or markets you guys want to take a look at. So I'm just trying to give you guys value, answer some questions without you guys even having to ask. That's good, Jay. It's tough out here. I'm trying to keep what you got the ground for. Trust me. 20 watching. Hit the like button, y'all. I love you, Nikki. Thank you. Biggest thing I've learned every day isn't a trade a day. Biggest thing I've learned every day isn't to trade every day. Yes. You're absolutely right. Sometimes there's been times where I've went, a week, maybe 2 weeks without trading, only because the trades are not there. Like especially during, Christmas, New Year's. That time you're not trading at all because the market literally looks like this all day, every day. Maybe even smaller as far as like the range itself. So when you encounter the idea of like, oh fuck, I didn't place a trade today, that's okay. Because you probably took yourself out of the idea of losing a trade and losing money. So the one thing I want everybody to understand is just patience within everything you do, and you're good. Let me actually go ahead and bring this back. Okay. What time is it? So we got about, 7 minutes? Okay, I can't even see that. It looks like we got about 8 minutes left until the news. So let me actually go ahead and get this ready. So when the news comes out, I'll be pressing this little button. As you see, it'll rotate and then give us the idea. Now, here's a tip, everybody. Here's a tip. And I want everybody, just like Nikki said, this is something that I'm going to give you guys. So if you guys could just do me a quick favor, smash that like button. Make sure this community keeps growing. Nah, I'm just kidding. You guys don't have to. I really don't care. But I really do want to build this community. We're building very nicely. I love the progression that we're getting and how we're growing so far. So again, the more people we have on, the longer the sessions will be, the more information will be given, and obviously the more value you guys will be receiving as well as these sessions grow. So if you guys can, thank you guys so much if you did already. But if you guys can, please like this so that way we can continue to grow. I have a lot of plans left for, not left, but I have a lot of plans leading into this kind of still new year. So I definitely want to build this with transparency and consistency. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate it. So let me see real quick. Can you look at AUD USD for me? No, I'm kidding. Yes, absolutely. Again, same thing though. There's not really much we could do with this, but the idea, and I say that only because of the news, but this is very much bearish. I mean, as we can see, this is a head and shoulders pattern. My man is leaning. Right, he's leaning right now. His shoulder's over here, but it's still very much a right shoulder. So leading into news, I'm already kind of getting a sense of the dollar gaining strength. That is not a fact. This is just an assumption. But what I can see right now is, again, I mean, very much a bearish move. And like, I'm gonna say this, and this is not to sound disrespectful, so nobody yell at me. Look at it. Right, just look at it. Does it look like anything is buying right now? No. If we look at other time frames, maybe, but if we look left to get right, again, look at it. Look at where we are. That being the entire zone. This being the entire zone. I'm just trying to incorporate this little section here, but we already know that that's there. We know it's a sell, right? At least for now. We will see what happens here within the next few minutes. But we know that right now that's a sell, without a doubt. So if you're looking to understand the direction, that's a direction. That is very much a sell. And let me see. Benji, yo, every day watching, hit that like button. Only 4 likes and plenty of free knowledge given out. Help Jay's algorithm grow and hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that, Benji. I really do. Yeah, and I promise you guys, the more that this grows, it's only going to impact you guys in the most positive manner because what I have a plan on. Once I build this community up to a certain point, then probably not going to, there's only going to be a few things that I'm going to be, doing as far as trading is concerned, like, because right now I'm giving signals, that's great. Right now we have an EA, that's great. But what I really want to do is actually go around and teach in person and really give my time in that sense. So I want to do a lot. So when we build this community up, you guys are going to receive a fuck ton of knowledge, whether it's on here or any other platform, I promise you guys. So appreciate the support. But let me see real quick. Let me go back. And let me see. It was AUD USD. Yeah. So again, AU, we can see that this market's very much bearish. I would not go against that, especially, I mean, looking at this, looking left to get right, we can see the rejection from this candlestick here. That wick to the upside, showing a strong level of rejection. The small body candle that it left as well. And also, if you guys understand candlestick patterns, that's something you guys want to take a look at, hint, hint. But right now, I mean, we are kind of within that crossroads of a buy range. So it could sell back down to here before wanting to buy. But I mean, I wouldn't even think that, to be honest. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't even think that. So yeah, no, I would still say strong sells with AU. And again, we'll see what news comes out to be, because I say that and then the dollar comes out super weak and then we have a strong buy and then it just obliviates any previous highs. But yeah, I mean, if we just look at it, we can see how bearish that really is, at least for right now, because I know previously it was bullish. But again, taking into consideration the clues that the market is leaving behind, that the market is giving us a head and shoulders pattern. And I wouldn't say the neckline is broken, because as you see here, when we draw the tool out, the trend line will actually be considered to be drawn out somewhat differently. I'm actually going to draw it backwards really quick just to see. See, sometimes I don't like drawing the trend lines of head and shoulder patterns. Usually I like the structure point, like the actual, like that, as you see. You know what I mean? So you already have the break of that structure point, the retest of it. It already rejected off of it. So with the break of that and the obvious break of that trend line, it's already, in my opinion, going to be broken. Strong sells, without a doubt. And I'll just put this up here so that way, if it does miraculously start buying from news and we break above that, you can put a buy stop above that. But yeah, very much bearish. So we can, let's do this. Break of neckline. I'll just put neckline 1, because I feel like the head and shoulder pattern has two identities of a neckline, because you have obviously the structure, the support zone, and then you do have the sense, if it's angled in this sense, you do have the neckline in the sense of the trend line as well. So we'll just put neckline 2. So bang, let's do that. So if we have a break of either or, like not either or, we have the break of the first, but if we have a break of this second one, then obviously, I mean, that's confirmed to the next potential lows. The next potential lows are all over the place, but the first will be here. So yeah, sells on AU. On a technical standpoint, if it doesn't, and then next thing you know, we see gold. When the news come out negative for the dollar, then it's just going to continue to push up higher. But let's see. I definitely want to see how this reacts. We have about 2 minutes, and we're going to see here in about 2 minutes. So let me see what else you guys got. CAT CHF rejecting that trend line. Really? Well, not so much, but it's getting there. I do like it. Right? I do like the way that this is setting up. You know what I mean? This is actually looking very, very good. The fact that we're respecting the zone, not the trend line as of yet, but the fibs as well. So I do like the way that this is currently looking. Again, very risky in the sense of the news, but if I might place this, I might go ahead and place this after the call, because I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and throw 30,000 standards on it, but I'll place something decent. I'll put not a significant stop loss, but the market could just like go crazy, be bullish real quick and then go bearish again. So with CAT CHF, you can actually put this all the way up here. That's 30 pips. So I'll actually put a stop loss, something like that, just to give it a little bit of room to breathe from the initial reaction of the news, and then hopefully see if it could push down from there. So this is actually what my trade setup would look like if I'm looking at this. So let's get rid of this sell kill zone. Let's get rid of this up here, and we'll identify this. And if this does break above, and we come back to our original price point or our original entry, then I'll obviously be looking at entries up there as well. But right now, this doesn't look like it's going to be pretty decent for us. All right, 8:30. Oh, snap. Probably nothing, because the news has kind of been weird. So positive for the dollar. There you go. We have a reaction on AUD USD. So the sells have been confirmed in the sense of what the dollar is most likely going to be doing. Let's go ahead and take a look at GBP USD. Same thing, bearish. Not a huge reaction, but we are getting some bearish intent. let's go ahead and take a look at the DXY. DXY is turning bullish. So right now we do have a bullish outlook on the dollar, and look at that, the DXY just extremely bullish as well. So yeah, I would say the dollar is going to continue to be bullish. We're not going to be looking for any type of sells against it. So for the individual who was asking about AUD USD, your sells are confirmed with that. The news has come out, I wouldn't say extremely bullish, but it has come out positive for the initial dollar. So we definitely, and there we go for core PPI as well. So we can actually see right now that bullish across the board for the dollar, more bullish than expected. So yeah, AUD USD, if you're already in sells, continue to hold those sells. It's USD CHF. I know that was selling like crazy at one point. Now starting, so we are getting bullish reactions. USD CAD. So if anybody from yesterday, if you guys were actually in this trade, again, this is something we spoke about yesterday. If you were able to use this analysis and actually end up in strong buys on that, please move your stop loss to break even. You don't need to get out of this trade. Continue to hold so that way you make more profits. Obviously, if we break above this point with the bullish news, or the better than expected news rather for the dollar, USD CAD will skyrocket. Well, I keep forgetting that we have CAD news, but this will probably stay consolidated. Actually, I completely forgot that we have that CAD news. So actually, just don't do anything. Just see what happens. Maybe the Canadian dollar, the news for the Canadian dollar will come out negative, and then from there, I mean, you'll have USD CAD just skyrocket until, you know, hundreds and hundreds of pips, because you already have a bullish outlook on the dollar. So if we have a negative outlook on the Canadian dollar, by all means, USD CAD is going to skyrocket. So we'll definitely we'll take a look back at USD CAD here a little bit later to see exactly what we get actually. But let me see what else you guys got. All right, so far so good. So appreciate you guys. Yo, I appreciate every last one of you guys being on, for real talk. We are building this community and I love it. I want to just build it off of transparency, obviously profits and consistency throughout the chart. So I appreciate you guys being on with me today. Thank you. And I'm just going through seeing if there's anything we can talk about. That was from yesterday too. That's crazy. But yeah, any questions, any other markets you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. If not, we can conclude for today. Again, I just want to identify what the market is giving us so that way we can be profitable. And also you guys help me, because being on these calls with you all help me be as like detailed and perfect as, or try to be as perfect as possible on the charts, which correlates beautiful profits to my students, because then I'll either put that on our auto trader or obviously give it to them as a signal. And I'll also be doing the signals for you guys in our Discord. Now that I got rid of that dude that was just like spamming us yesterday, but I'll also be doing that as well. I just haven't, only because again, the market's kind of been weird. So I want to make sure that the quality that I give out to you guys is obviously like above, you know, your expectations. So I definitely will be doing that. I just want to make sure that everything I put out for you guys is obviously the highest of quality. So yeah, anything you guys got for me, questions, comments, concerns? If not, we'll conclude for today. We do have a bullish outlook so far for the US dollar. We don't know what the Canadian dollar is going to do, so we got to stay patient with that. But so far, so good for the US dollar. So let's continue to hold any sells that you have on, like, you know, Euro USD, GU, or AU. If you're currently in any buys on USD CHF, possibly USD CAD, you can stay in those buys as well. If you're trading gold, you should be. I mean, gold right now, the dollar came out positive for gold. We can see that it had a bearish reaction from there. At our level of structure that we spoke about this morning, or still morning, but a little bit earlier this morning, might be starting to see some strong sells from here, because this range is looking like it's holding up so far. So hopefully within this candle and even the next, we start seeing some bearish intent, because if you do, that'll be a beautiful day for anybody in sells from there. So looks like you guys are good. So with that being said, we'll actually conclude for today. Any of my legacy students, by all means, feel free to hit me up after this. I will be in the Discord with you all. I'll actually go ahead and add the EA back on, or turn the EA back on, now that we have some actual news and volatility within the dollar or within gold itself. Our EA is right now just trading gold. I'm going to make it back tested and a little bit more for forex pairs. But I will be turning it on back on here in a little bit. Just want to let the news settle, because next thing you know, it looks like it's selling and then it starts buying. So I want to make sure that we are in the right path. I make sure that I manage everything for you guys and put you guys in the right direction. So with that being said, definitely appreciate you guys. Again, for everybody that's on, I highly, highly appreciate you guys. I think today's been a day where we had the most amount of people so far. So from my heart, I'm so grateful, because I really want to build this through what we're doing. You know what I mean? Just a lot of value, a lot of education, a lot of consistency. So thank you guys for being on today. Have a blessed day. Again, if you guys need anything, whether you're a legacy student or not, feel free to hit me up. I'm always available. With that being said, everybody, have an amazing day. Again, if there's anything that you need, feel free to hit me up. God bless, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, everybody. Thank you.